This episode is brought to you by Maestro Sausage, the only sausage we use at Hot Tongue. They produce sausages specifically with pizzerias in mind, and you can tell. So if your sausage isn't hitting all the right notes, let Maestro lead the way. Ladies and gentlemen, goons and goblins, that's right. It's spooky season. We're in October, baby. And I'm bringing you a hot episode of Pie to Pie. Sitting here at Hot Tongue Pizza. That's where me and Brandon from Pizza Ananda sat down and spoke. I met Brandon at a Gozney event. I walked in. This dude looked like he was slanging and banging pies. He was getting filmed. I was like, dang, dude, who is this guy? I had seen him on the internet. His pizzas have these huge crusts, like beautiful leopard crusts. I wanted to have him on and talk about his journey and his story, and it is a good one. I love talking to other new dads myself too, because although my son's 4 years old, I feel like I'm figuring out every day to have a child, to have a wife, to do a pop-up, and then have a full-time job on top of it. It's a lot of work. We talk about that briefly, about how life is a lot of work, but you know, you gotta work for what you want, and that's what Brandon's doing, and he has a great attitude. And he has a great story of how he got there. He just drops knowledge. He drops quotes. We talk about how he got into the collective and how he got his 2 arcs, how the arcs cook differently than the rock boxes, and kind of where he's at now and where he sees things going. And the journey is the goal. That message right there is it. I think that's what life is about. The adventure is right in front of you and we're having it. And sometimes we miss out on that because we're too concerned about what we're gonna get to and what that's gonna be like. And then we're gonna have that and everything's gonna be good. And in reality, it's probably the time you were struggling the most that you're gonna look back and be like, those were the best days of my life. At least that's what I tell myself. Without further ado, Brandon, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day with your family and coming down and sitting down with me. I loved every second of it. And Radiohead on MDMA in a field at Coachella forever. More on that story later. Brandon from Pizza Ananda, let's go. MailWise Solutions takes advertising to the next level. They design, print, and direct mail, menus, flyers, and postcards for pizzerias all across the United States. I've worked with MailWise before. I tried to design my own menu, and Kevin said, hey, give me a stab at this, and holy shit. When he sent me back the menu, I was like, I thought I was okay at what I did, and his design team blew me away. There's no mailing contracts, so you're free to advertise on your own schedule. Click the link in the show notes or request a sample pack at mailwisesolutions.com. Let's get you some new customers today.
No, straight up. I mean, you know, how old is your son now?
4.
Facts. I'm slowly getting there. My daughter's a year and a half, and she's now
talking
just
and walking yet?
Talking and running. This morning
Nice.
was just, we woke up at 6, and it was just, she's like, walk. We just put her down, and she just runs around, dude. And we're just like, oh my gosh. Like at first our apartment, we were like, we don't need a baby proof or any of that stuff. That's kind of like bullshit. And then
But once they start moving,
once
dude,
they start
it's time
moving,
to
we're like,
putting
oh,
shit
damn,
on the
dude,
counters,
yes,
like
dude,
locking
yes.
doors.
My wife completely rearranged our whole entire place and was like, oh, this should just like open layout so she could just run back and forth. It's pretty intense.
Well, what are you doing when you're not making pizza?
So I actually manage a taco restaurant in a arts district called Loki. So that's like my main gig,
I remember.
Salary job, you know what I mean? So that's.
Have you been in the restaurant industry
like
forever?
No, so I mean, gosh, I kind of tripped into the restaurant industry. I come from photography. I used to assist for a photographer and do a lot of my own photography work, portraits, like fashion stuff, magazine stuff like that. Pretty like lifeless stuff. And then I was kind of like in a point in my life where early 20s, I didn't know really what I wanted to kind of do, where I saw myself in the future. And then my brother used to work at Blue Bottle right next to Loki in Culver City. And he was like, yo, they're looking for like somebody to come kind of work here. And I was like, let me just switch it up a little bit. You know what I mean? So I started kind of working there and doing assisting for this photographer. And then, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of liked it. It was just front of house work there, I mean, I used to work at like a Togo's before. I was like the sandwich art. I'm a sandwich artist. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
they don't make
like
them the same.
Sandwiches and shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And then they opened up the Arts District location in 2009, about the end of 2019, and then COVID happened. And then I was kind of stuck at home they kind of like laid us off a little bit. They're like, yo, like, why don't you guys come back in a couple months once we kind of figure out what's going to go on.
Yeah.
During that time, I went through a whole kind of like spiritual trip, you could say. I was,
ayahuasca or?
No, I was growing mushrooms at my friend's house in a closet and just pretty much running experiments on my brother, myself, my friend who was living there, and my wife. She was just my girlfriend at the time. But we were just kind of like microdosing, just having like a little fun,
This is during COVID.
This is during
nice.
COVID.
Everyone else turning into alcoholics.
Exactly.
You're over here fucking growing mushrooms in a closet.
You know what I mean?
I was trying to meet God, and she is crazy.
Exactly, dude. I was like, damn, she's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had a house, so we were just laying on the roof, staring at the sky and shit. So it just kind of gave me a lot of time to kind of figure out like what I wanted to kind of do with my life. And I mean, I didn't know still what I wanted to do. I got super into yoga.
Do you think psychedelics helped you?
Bro,
kind of like
100%.
Yeah.
It's like I think psychedelics are literally it just kind of just opens your mind to all the possibilities of, anything. I think it definitely there's like religion and then there's spirituality, you know what I mean? I think psychedelics like definitely just kind of open a more spiritual-esque kind of vibe to you, you know what I mean? You kind of see the oneness in everything and everybody.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. I was kind of riding that trip. I got super into like Ram Dass and was listening to like a bunch of Ram Dass, and we went to go spend some time on an ashram, and like we met this dude who was like our guru pretty much for like a little bit, and like we did like a yoga teacher training and stuff. So fully just kind of like just blissed out, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Fully like riding that tip. And then it came time to come back to work. And then I was like, okay, like, well, back to reality.
Fucking capitalism, dude.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you gotta live. You gotta learn how to pay your shit somehow.
Let me know, dude. I'll move to Oregon right now, dude. Start that commune,
dude. Yeah. Honestly, that's all we talk about. It's like, yo, let's get some land. Let's get a couple of spaces. We got moms and dads over there. You know what I mean? All the homies over here.
Couple Gozney ovens.
Gozney ovens. You know what I mean? On barbecue. We got the egg. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I mean, we were doing that, and I came back to work and was like kind of in between of like, well, damn, I kind of want to like still live like my life spiritually, and what does that mean? And then also at the same time, okay, well, I have to pay my bills and stuff. So I was back at Loki, and then after a couple months, they switched gears. Instead of it being like just front of house, back of house, they made it fully integrated. So everybody was just doing everything.
Okay.
So then I was like, oh, well, now I'm a cook now. Now I'm learning how to marinate meats. Now I'm learning how to make salsas and marinades and cooking chicken and mushrooms and stuff like that. So that's kind of like where my love for cooking kind of started.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up like, in a typical Black household where it's just like, mom's is playing church music and making music, making food in the morning. And like you come downstairs and like the first thing, it's like, good morning, like here's a spoon, go help me kind of make this stuff. You know what I mean? So I was always kind of surrounded by food. And pizza too. I mean, like I was always pizza was like that thing where it's like guilty pleasure thing as a kid. You know what I mean? My parents were always, either we had those frozen pizzas in the freezer, the freaking Celestes, the Red Barons and shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Red Baron just gets
my gosh, dude.
My mouth starts watering, dude.
That French bread pizza, dude, with the peps.
Come on.
Woo!
Come on.
We were slinging those. I mean, I can't remember a week where I wasn't eating pizza. It sounds super unhealthy. But we had those local joints. I grew up in Palmdale.
Yeah.
It's like an hour north from here. And like, they had like Vince's Pasta and Pizza. So you had those like mom and pop shops that we would just go to with our friends after school. And yeah, I started kind of cooking a lot at Loki. I watched a lot of cooking shows. My wife got me super into watching a bunch of cooking shows and shit.
Like diners, drive-ins, and dives? Or
I mean,
what?
my dad was
We're
huge
rolling
diner
out.
driver. Oh my god! So I was watching Triple D. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
hell yeah.
I mean, not Triple D.
Triple
fucking,
D is diner, drives, and
Yeah,
dives.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
he's got all these triple things.
Well, he's got the guys' grocery games,
Guys,
dude.
Triple
G.
G. There you
baby.
go.
Oh my
So
god.
guys, grocery games. I was like, yo, this is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of random ass people like just making food out of just the most random shit. Then I got into like super like the competition cooking shows, like Top Chef, all that stuff. Like just super into it. And then I didn't really start looking at cooking like artistically until I started kind of watching Chef's Table. My perspective kind of just shifted. I was like, here I am kind of seeing art done differently, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's when I really just kind of got the bug of like, oh wow, like, you know, cooking is something that's like, you know, meant to be respected. It comes like, you know, not something that comes easy. It's a lot of work. I wasn't really still like on that cooking tip then. I was just kind of like, you know, fucking around, learning and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until, you know, fast forward, my wife's pregnant. We were eating at Side Pie in Altadena. Have you been to Side Pie? So that place like changed my like perspective. I think that was probably, well, I mean, I used to go to Prime all the time. And when I used to work at Adidas off of Melrose, I would go to Prime like maybe 3-4 times a week, either to get pizza or to get ranch. And I was just like, those combos, like their ranch is just fantastic.
It is.
Their pizza's fantastic. I still go to the one in our district like at least once a week to just kind of remind me like, you know, what good pizza tastes like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hit that. And then you know, when you're eating pizza, like as you're growing up and stuff like that, you're not really like paying attention to all the nuances of it. Like, you know, does it, like, is the crunch right? You know, how's the crust? You know, what's the combination of the toppings and stuff? I wasn't really like paying attention to any of that stuff until like I kind of started getting a little older. I would take the train from Palmdale when I was like in my early teens or like my late teens. And I would go to like a spot and there was like a Joe's Pizza or something like that in downtown at the time. And I would collect pizza boxes on some like Scott Wiener shit and like hang them up on my wall, and like you just see grease stains and shit. Like when I left my house in Palmdale, just like grease stains all over the walls, like freaking little ants and shit, just like trails and stuff. So I was just like kind of like, I didn't know I was like obsessed with like pizza. I was just kind of just hanging out, you know, fucking around.
Yeah.
So fast forward, my wife's pregnant. We're eating at Side Pie. She goes into labor when we're there, and it's not like, oh my god, I'm going into labor. It's just like she's like, oh, like I'm starting to kind of feel like Ananda's like, you know, moving around in here. Like something feels completely different. I was like, okay, like let's go home. That same night, she was in like more of an active labor.
Yeah.
And then,
damn, dude,
it was
just straight went into
just
labor
straight
at a
in there,
pizza
dude.
place.
I know, right?
You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
it's so, like-
at Side Pie. Did you ever hit them up and
Dude,
be
I
like,
was-
yo?
I like posted my story on Instagram, and they were like, and I was like, oh yeah, we were at Sci Pie, and they were like, oh, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy,
That's
bro.
gotta
Like,
be
you
a
know what I
first.
mean?
Yeah.
it's got to be a first, right? So
Such nice people there.
Yeah, great people.
Yeah.
Really awesome people. They were like, when they saw that I was kind of doing pop-ups, they were like, oh, like, you know, like, where's the invite? You know, got to come through. Still never came through, but it's okay. But yeah, I think that was really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, I was on paternity leave for 3 months, just kind of stuck at home, a little bored. Didn't know really what to do. We had a home birth. So, you know, we were literally, as soon as Ananda was born, we just kind of moved into the bed and we never left. We were just there for 3 months. I would leave the house a little bit to go get some groceries and stuff like that. But we were just at home, you know, they were chilling in bed, and then I was watching Chef's Table Pizza. And that's kind of really where I was like, yo, this is a trip. I was watching, just watching Chris Bianco, Sarah Menick, like Yoshihiro Imai. I was just like, yo, these guys are all artists. You know what I mean? Like they're putting their all into what they're doing. And I just grew like a deep respect for what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I was off. I was like, you know, let me try to make some dough. You know what I mean? So I grew a starter. I was just kind of like feeding it. It started to kind of get active after about a week and a half. Started making some bread. I would just be making sourdough bread loaves for like yeah, like 3 times a week. I mean, we were just eating so much bread. I would give them to my mother-in-law who lived across the street. We live in this like nice little like kind of, there's like duplexes and stuff. So I would give it to my neighbors and stuff like that. And then I had like about a month left of paternity leave, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to make some pizza. So I literally just bought a Gozney rock box. I sold my PS5. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to play this shit anymore.
This life is over.
I'm sorry. I was like,
goodbye
PS5. I'll see you later. You know,
this does nothing for me
exactly.
anymore.
I was like, I'm not gonna sit here and play Last of Us for hours. I'm gonna try to do something with my life. So
unless you're a deadbeat dad.
Yeah. Exactly. You hear me,
deadbeat dad?
You hear me, deadbeat
Sell
dad?
your PS5. Yeah, it's time to get rid of that fucking thing and buy a Gozney. Use the affiliated link in the show notes.
Be at Gozney.com/bstanciell, you know what I mean? So I bought a rock box, and I was literally like, I started kind of reading some recipes. Shouts out Leper Crust. Fang Chen from, I think she lives in, I don't know. Anyways, the point is, I was reading her recipes, and it gave me like an idea and a structure of kind of where to start. And obviously, there's just like too much information out there.
Yeah.
And like, I felt like there was a point where I just kept reading too much stuff, and I was just like, I'm not getting anywhere. I have to just kind of try it. So I just kind of just started making pizza, and it was just kind of history after that. It just kind of kicked off. A friend invited me to make some pizza for her like outdoor movie thing that she was doing. And then like, I was like, sure. I made like, 24 dough balls, and just like kind of went there and was just winging it. It took hours for people to get their pizzas because I was the only one doing it.
All one rock
Dude,
box.
all one rock box, just me. They were watching a movie, you know what I mean? It was like a 2.5 hour long movie. So all night you just hear, Jason, Roberta, you know what I mean? Just yelling out names to give out pizzas. It took me forever to kind of get through them, but I was like, this is kind of awesome. You know what I mean? I liked kind of being like, coming from the kitchen, like, I love being in like those stressful situations where it's just like, what are we going to do? In moments like that, I just try to stay calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah.
People knew that like, I was just doing it by myself, and that was my first time ever doing it. So they were super chill and like, just kind of waiting for their pizza. And then, I just kept kind of doing it. These opportunities just kept coming up, and I wasn't like really like, oh, this is what I'm gonna like. This is what I want to do in my life. I'm gonna be a pizza maker. Like, I'm gonna be it wasn't like really kind of like, I wasn't really looking at it like that. For me, it was just a creative outlet. I was like, okay, here, I haven't shot photos in a long time. Here's like a way for me to kind of express myself creatively. I'm feeling kind of a little bit more in touch artistically now. It's like about kind of like the path for me. Like, that's like my goal right now.
Yeah.
It's just kind of this path of just like whatever it is. Yoshihiro Imai says this one thing in his chef's table where he says that for him, like, he's just kind of moving with no goal in mind. You know what I mean? For him, the path is the goal. You know what I mean? And I think like, watching that episode was really, he translated a lot of spiritual things that I resonated with pizza. And that just like made me like, it made it easier for me to kind of follow this path. You know what I mean? I think things were just kind of being laid out in front of me, and I was just kind of taking the chances and just kind of seeing where it led me, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your sausage needs aren't hitting all the right notes, then let Maestro lead the way. Maestro has been working closely with pizzerias for decades. They produce sausages designed specifically with pizzerias in mind. And you can tell, their Italian sausage crumbles look like they were handmade in your shop, and they will taste that way as well. With over 80 years in business, family owned and operated, the family is incredible, and so is their product. It's quality sausage with quality ingredients. Click the link in the show notes. A classical masterpiece awaits you. Back to the show. When did you have your first pop-up?
Facts.
Like
first official.
First official pop-up.
Yeah.
And at that point, what kind of equipment did you have?
Word. So, still my very first pop. So I did that pop-up for my friend. It was like, it wasn't until like a couple months after that where I was.
How did you feel after that?
After
Were
that,
you stoked on how it went?
oh, I mean,
Also, were you making like the official pizza that you make today?
got you.
Like, or was it a more like traditional crust?
Facts. When I first started that, I mean, I was always addicted to kind of getting that puffy crust.
Yeah.
I was just like, I saw that like, it like being like this contemporary style of Neapolitan pizza. Like I see it as like, it's just like the modern take and stuff like that. And, me just kind of with my art mind was like, oh, like this is how I want to do a contemporary style pizza. You know what I mean? So
Because your crust is fucking big. It's big dog.
It's a fat daddy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's a fat daddy.
Dude.
I like, I wanted to kind of just give my respects to the dough because that's just kind of like where I was coming from. I was like, well, if I'm going to give you a pizza, I want to give you as much dough as I possibly can with also, respecting that there's going to be ingredients on it and stuff like that. I was first making like they were about like 7 inches for like my very first pop-up that my friend had me do it for her movie thing. I really don't really consider that one like my pop-up, like my first pop-up. I was just like kind of winging it, but they were like 7 inches. The crust was like significantly larger than the inside of the pizza.
Yeah.
So people were getting 90% crust, like 10% sauce.
This was all sourdough?
It was all sourdough.
And you're still doing all sourdough?
And I'm still doing all sourdough, yeah. And they were just like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? I was like, I know, like, I'm sorry, like this is, I'm not gonna compromise, like, on like my vision, like, you're gonna take it or you're gonna leave it or whatever. They were just like kind of like blown away, like, what the fuck is this? I've never had a pizza like this. I felt stoked. I was like, yo, this was a stressful situation, but I freaking love playing with fire. I loved figuring out like, like just watching the pizza cook. Like I joke around with my friend all the time. I'm like, yo, if like there was like a Twitch where there's just like a camera stuck on an oven just watching pizzas go in, like I would just watch it for hours, dude. Like I just love just watching pizzas being baked. So I got like addicted that first time around. And then it wasn't until months after I was at Loki kind of just like chilling around, and this guy comes in who owns Signal Shops, which is this like boutique shopping area like right next to like a little couple blocks down from Loki. He was like, I heard you were making pizzas. Wanted to see if you were down to like kind of make pizzas so that we can kind of get more people coming into our Signal Shops area. And I was like, sure. And he was like, oh, I'll like pay whatever you don't sell. And I was like, cool, sure. Like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, it's a win-win. Like, I'm not like losing money really. You know what I mean? You're paying for like what I don't make. So we did that. And then, I mean, I sold like 6 pizzas that day. I was there for like 3 hours. I sold 6 pizzas. He bought the rest of them. And he was like, hey, like, I really love your pizza. Like, he bought like everybody their pizzas and stuff. Those were the 6 pizzas I sold. Nobody knew I was even in that space. So yeah, he was like, oh, well, I've got this like little event. Would you be down to cater it or whatever? And I was like, I mean, I've never done a catering event with pizza before, but sure, why not? It was a couple weeks away. I bought another rock box. So I had 2 rock boxes at the time. I bought like, a couple tables. I bought like some stuff to hold the pizzas up on some trays. I know my way around Restaurant Depot. I know my way around like, Charlie's, fixtures and shit. So I know where I can get these things. So I just kind of winged it, dude. I called my brother. I was like, yo, I got this event that I need to cater. I need your help. And then my friend Ben, who helps me out with pop-ups now, who works with me at Loki as well. We all 3 work at Loki. He was helping me out, and just that first night, it just made me comfortable. Like, okay, I got my boys here. Like, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. We made pizzas that night. They were just expoing for me right now. So they were just cutting the pizza when it came out, throwing it up on the trays. And after that, the guy was like, yo, like, if you want to keep coming by, like, just keep coming by. Like, whatever happens. And then, yeah, I just kind of did it once a week for a couple months there. It wasn't until like, I would say December. Yeah, it was like November, December. I was doing that. January, I started kind of getting a little bit more comfortable kind of doing it. And yeah, he just kind of gave me a space to just be able to figure it out for myself. I wasn't selling like a bunch of pizzas at that time or anything like that. So I just had the time to really focus on stretching the pizza out. Topping the pizza, throwing it in the oven, figuring out, because with the rock box, that flame in the back, and with my high crust, it could obliterate it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just figuring out like, how to work with that. So yeah, it just kind of gave me a lot of time to kind of and space to learn really while I still have my full-time job, while I was still, being dad at home and stuff like that and a husband. So yeah.
Is your wife supportive of?
Oh,
of
dude,
this venture?
I would not be doing this. Shouts out Maya. Without her support. She was like, I told her like, hey, I'm super into kind of making pizza right now. Like I kind of want to see where this goes. And she was like, as long as, you're keeping the roof over our head, you're paying for the bills, like go for it. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, like I'm going to do this. You know what I mean? So that's like what the means of it is right now. It's like really just kind of sustaining our family right now. And I'm also kind of being able to figure out like, what I want to do with my life. You know what I mean? Do I want to kind of build a legacy for my family kind of thing? What does that even mean? I know I don't want to work at a taco spot for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Can I kind of start to build something for myself that has meaning and that I actually enjoy doing,
Yeah.
So that's kind of, yeah, she's my biggest, like, ultimate supporter. I literally would not be doing this without her support, and holding it down the fort at home. Cause, yeah, having a kid, especially a toddler, I mean, it's a lot of work, you know what I mean? And so when I'm like, oh, hey, I got to pop up today and I go and I'm gone like most of the day or something like that. I come home, I'm like, I'm going to try to do whatever I can to like, make up that time, maybe it's waking up in the middle of the night, rocking Ananda back to sleep and stuff like that. So yeah, she's huge supporter.
Yeah,
I would not be doing this without their support.
It would be dumb to try to do it without the support.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be divorced. Yeah. It goes back to our first conversation.
That's right.
We'd be divorced. It would not work out.
That didn't last long.
Yeah, exactly.
The concept, was it always going to be named after your daughter?
Yeah, I mean, it was like a little bit of it was really mostly like a tribute to her. I mean, I think if it wasn't for that time off to really kind of figure out like what I wanted to do, it wouldn't have happened, honestly. I don't think I had a moment in my life after COVID where things were still, I kind of just kept going.
Yeah.
And that was the first time in a long time where things were still and, kind of just with like my background in meditation and stuff like that, I really was able to kind of just sit with what I wanted to do, and Ananda really helped in a lot of that. So I named the project after her, Pizza Ananda. Her name Ananda means bliss. Her full name's Ananda Mai, which means joy permeated. She's named after an Indian saint, this like person who was just known for being in a constant state of bliss all the time. And that's really like, she's very much like her namesake. She's just always like happy, always laughing, always just smiling at us. Even when she's like crying and shit, she'll be like, you know what I mean? Like I'm crying and then she'll be like, I got you, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
no, my son does that all the time.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
dude. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing for sure.
Talk about a spiritual moment. I mean, the birth of a life is fucking crazy. Dude.
Trippy, dude.
It is trippy.
It's
like one of these things that like a lot of people do that I feel like, it's like creating life is like, it's kind of insane.
It's godlike.
Yeah,
I mean, you're literally...
I call my wife a god all the time. I'm like, dude, you're on some god level shit.
Dude, straight up. Us having a home birth too, it was like it was just an incredible experience. My wife has a photo of me like as soon as like I caught Ananda when she came out, and like I quickly handed it to my wife, and like I have a face where my face looks disgusted, but like it's just like hands are covered in blood and all this goop, and I'm just like, yo, like what the fuck did we just do right now? You know what I mean?
Like a fucking alien, just like coming out. Like, dude, I remember that they were like, we were in a hospital, and they were like, do you want to cut the umbilical cord? And there's a picture of me. My face is like fucking white, and I'm in scrubs. I'm like. No.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, what? You want me to cut flesh? Like, what?
I think you guys got this, dude. That's why we're at the hospital.
Dude, straight up. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, and then to have to like, it was a complete trip, dude. And now I still constantly trip every day. I'm just like, yo, like we created this, you know what I mean? Like we're on some God shit, you know what I mean?
We call Levi our creation.
Oh,
like,
facts.
Where's the creation?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Where's the creation?
Yeah. Instead of being like, that's my child.
He wakes up creators. Like, my creators.
Creators, where are you, creators?
I'm hungry, creators.
That's what we make him call us. Yeah.
That's what we make him
God, are you there, God? I mean, if I hallucinate, like real talk, I took like a fucking hero's dose.
Yeah.
Like the vision of of God I'd see would probably look something like my wife.
Dang, dude, I love that. I love God as a woman, dude.
Yeah.
God as a woman, straight up.
Also, I just don't know where I would be without that woman.
Dude.
Probably in a ditch somewhere, no doubt.
Dude, 100%. I mean, I literally was living my life just like kind of no goal in mind, really. My wife really just kind of makes sure that I'm doing things with intention. And always just kind of keeping my like head, you know, she's like, just keep doing you, you know what I mean? Don't worry about any of the outside noise and stuff like that. I was kind of reluctant kind of getting into the pizza game. Just like, I don't know, I feel like there's just so many OGs and just a lot of people who have just been doing this shit for years and stuff. And here I am just kind of like walking in here and like, I felt like, you know, yeah, like, am I like, can I be doing this? You know what I mean? Am I supposed to be like popping up this soon? Am I supposed to be doing any of this stuff? But I just kind of like let the universe guide me into whatever I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't really ask for any of this stuff, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of going with the flow, really.
Yeah.
Letting life kind of take me where it's supposed to take me.
Yeah, well, like that quote, dude. It's basically about the journey.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? The journey is the goal.
The journey is the goal.
Let's go back a little bit though. When did you buy an Arc? You have an Arc.
Yeah,
Do you have an Arc and an Arc XL?
I have an Arc and an Arc XL.
So you upgraded.
I
Do you still have that original rock box?
I sold the rock boxes as soon as I had 2 rock boxes. I literally sold both of them the same exact day. Bought an Arc as soon as Gozney was like, "Yo, like we're giving you guys early access and stuff like that."
When did you get into the collective? When give your blood and plasma to Nate.
Yeah, straight up. I was like, "Here, take it, bro, take it." IV drip to Gozney. They were super nice. Rocks, the person who does like their Instagram and stuff like that was like hitting me up. Like she was like, "Oh, could you send us these photos?" Like every time I was posting photos, she's like, "Oh, can you send us these? These are super dope. Like we'd love to use them for marketing." And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure. Like whatever." You know what I mean? Like they're just photos. Like I'm not like really tripping. And then they were like, "Oh, like we've been talking around the office about you all like for the past couple months. Like we were super interested in like, you know, if you'd be down to kind of like join like the Pizza Collective or whatever." And I was like,
cool.
I saw people like, you know, with the Gozney Pizza Collective in their profiles and stuff. I just didn't know really what it was.
Yeah.
Then obviously you get on the Discord and stuff like that. And yeah, it was they let me in. I mean, I was literally only making pizza for, you know, 4 or 5 months, and they just got me in there. At first I was just like, "Oh, like, am I even really supposed to be here?" You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? But being able to kind of have access to like stuff like that and like discounts and just the community, really. I mean, kind of being here in the pizza community in Los Angeles in general, and like you guys have just been freaking incredibly awesome and open. You know what I mean? So it just kind of made it easier to kind of just do these things. But yeah, I've been with Gozney for several months now, and it's been tight. You know, shouts out Nate. Yeah, everybody's been super dope. They invited me to like, you know, a couple of little thingies. That's where I met you that first time at that little backyard party.
Yeah, you were like fucking slanging and banging pies.
Yeah,
dude.
I
got there and you were like first one in there.
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, do you want to?" They're like, "Hey, we think it's a good. Nate thinks it's a good idea for you to do a like how-to video." And I was like, "Yo, I just got here. I'm super stoned, to be real. Like, I thought we were just partying, you know what I mean? Like, I came here to eat some pizza, you know, like, what's going on, you know? I thought we were going to do, like, a little, like, you know, like, oh, like, you know, maybe the pros go first and, like, you know, let the amateurs go later or something like that.
I walked in and you looked like the pro, dude.
Yeah,
you
she
were
was like, here's the
fucking
mic.
filmed
Yeah, I
and
was
shit.
like, okay, like, you know, I was like, okay, Brandon, just like, just doing my thing, you know what I mean? Yeah, that was, like, my first, like, camera op. And I still get people being like, you know, like, "Oh my gosh, dude, like you're on that Gozney thing." I was just like, "Yo, like you guys have no idea the state of mind that I was in doing that shit." You know what I mean? I remember trying to pass it off to the quarantine Pizza Co. peeps. Like, you know, like I was like, "You sure you don't want them to go first?" You know what I mean? Like, you know, like
Brandon like, "No, you got it, Brandon.
You got it, bro. You got it, bro." I was like, "Dang, I just met all these
Brandon.
guys." Yeah. Like, yeah, it was just a little bit of a trip. But yeah, Gozney's super dope. So I got the Arc as soon as like it dropped. I bought the Arc XL first, and then I was rocking that, and obviously it was just much easier for my pizza with that flame kind of going up and over a little bit more. Like with my crust, it was just easier for me to kind of manage how I cooked my pizzas and to also kind of just push the limits of how high I can get my crust. So yeah, we got that, and then after like kind of getting a little bit more busier, where people were like, oh, like we want you to do like something here, and oh, do you do events and stuff like that? And I was just like you know what I mean. So I got another one, and I was like, okay, like this makes it easier for me to kind of figure out like how to just keep the ball rolling. You know what I mean? My friend Ben, who God bless his soul, wasn't trying to do pizza or anything like that. I just was like, yo, like, can you help me? Like, like you just watch the oven for me while I stretch this dough out. It started off with him doing that, and then now he's like cooking the pizzas with me. And yeah, I mean, him and like my brother like makes things like a lot easier.
Is your
now.
brother slanging and banging pies too, or is
he's
he
not
still
slanging
cutting?
and banging, just cutting in front of house, pretty much. He wants to get on the the oven, but me and Ben have something just locked in right now that we're just kind of like not trying to like fuck with it. But also like we're still both just learning. You know what I mean? And like for me to teach another person on top of us both learning, like I mean, it's just like a lot. But I mean, it's not like rocket science for us. Like I mean, we've worked together for years. And like we have gotten to a point now where it's like he knows like what I want it to look like. He knows how to like make sure that it's not like we do this thing where it's like if the crust is going too high, like if it's flying too high to the sun, we call it Icarus crust. It's like, oh shit, it's getting I got a little bit of Icarus here. I'll come by and like and do a little maneuvering and stuff like that. But now he just like is able to do it. It's just incredible like how many times of repetition you could just really kind of understand how to do something.
That's like that's what life is.
That's
like to get really good
Yeah.
at something, you just like so you can do it in your sleep is like
Just
it's
keep
just
doing it.
so, yeah, it's so much of just doing the same shit.
Yeah, that's like I mean I wouldn't say I'm a really good pizza maker now, but like I'm much more comfortable making pizza now because I've just been doing it like over and over again, week after week, and like I've failed a bunch of times, but like I think that's like the moments where we learn. You know what I mean? So yeah, we've done a bunch of failing and a bunch of learning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we continue to do a bunch of learning. So yeah, we're rocking the 2 ovens now.
And you like, because you were telling me you like the bake of the Arc better than the XL.
It's like that enclosed. It's just a little bit closed in where I just love the heat retention on all of it. It gets it to where I need to get it. The Arc XL is tight. It's cool because now we're trying to kind of like, as I'm getting more comfortable with the dough and kind of experimenting with different like ingredients and stuff like that, like, okay, like what else can we cook? One night we had just invited our friends over, like my brothers and their girlfriends, and we had like made some salmon and roasted a bunch of vegetables inside there and stuff like that. So I like being able to have the versatility. So, for whenever we do decide to kind of do different stuff, I love just having the options. It's like, oh, maybe I rock my pizzas in the Arc and I can rock some bigger stuff in the Arc XL,
Yeah.
So yeah, the variety was just awesome. Definitely better than the rock boxes though. I mean, I loved the rock box for what it needed to do, what it needed to do. It did what it needed to do at the time that I got it. But I can't imagine going back to that thing at all. If anything, I want something like a little bit more dome or vibe. Like dome would be awesome or something like that.
Yeah, but it's fucking picking up a dome and moving.
Yeah.
Like people that use domes for their pop-ups are crazy, dude.
Yeah, I got a Volkswagen.
You got the big dog. Do you
I
have
got
all
the
your shit in there
Volkswagen,
too?
Dude, all my shit's in there.
I saw.
I did. See me rolling by.
I took all my stuff out this morning to take my son to school, but I can fit 3 arcs, a tent.
You got the fit, right?
Yeah.
Dude, you're
3 arcs,
crazy.
2 propane tanks. I got the splitter because I saw that shit.
Oh, dude, the splitter.
I saw the splitter on your Instagram,
shit, dude. Yeah.
And then I saw Quarantine had a triple splitter and a 7-gallon. Their propane tank was like this fucking big. I was like,
yeah, dude, that's next level.
And then the 3 splitter, and I was like, damn, dude,
crazy.
I'm getting put up on some game here.
Yeah,
dude.
straight up.
Because, dude, me putting 3 tanks in my front seat is crazy. And
That's
it's like,
crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I always tell people like, you'll know I'm doing well when you see me driving a new car, because but I'm driving a 2012 Honda Fit.
You're a baller.
Yeah.
Dude, for you to fit 3 of those in there is crazy.
Zach didn't believe me because I was like, everyone's pulling up with their vans and shit yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and I'm like rolling through with my clown car, dude.
Yo, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I have 3 tables in there.
You got a lot of room, dude.
Bro, with the seats down, like I'm like, I love my car too. I've always wanted like a wagon. I felt like it was like the ultimate dad car, but it's also like, when I get like, I'm super into soccer. So like, I was like, oh, when Ananda starts playing soccer, I can like, oh, soccer dad, pull up with the goals in the back and stuff like that. Shit, pull up with the arcs and the goals in the back. You know what I mean?
Want some pizza?
Want some pizza, guys?
Goal!
We won.
Dude,
Cool. Fuck shakies. We're going to make pizza right here, bro. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm like, but like me, I talk to my wife every day now. I'm just like, gosh, I want a new car. Like I'm trying to get a bigger car. Like I want like a 4Runner or something like that. Something to just like be able to like have like a little bit more space in there. Cause yeah, I'm up to the brim. I got the dough trays in the front seat, dude. Like freaking just up to the brim with shit. Just up to the brim.
I would just love like a truck.
Yeah.
And I would just basically open the truck bed and then put the two
everything in there,
just put 2 arcs though and cook out of the truck bed.
And that's a great idea. I see people doing it with like those Italian kind of trucks or
Oh,
like
yeah,
I'm like,
tuk-tuks.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like,
those
tuk-tuk,
are sick.
I'm like, yo, that's sick.
But I could just get a Toyota Tacoma and just fucking move them up.
Put them right
Park
there.
up like behind, because I've been popping up at the Grant because it's close to my house.
How's that been going?
It's all right.
Yeah.
You pop up there.
We were there on Mondays. Mondays are terrible, I think. I don't know.
I think Mondays are terrible.
Yeah,
I did a Tuesday and a Wednesday. The Wednesday was better.
Facts.
And then the Tuesday was like, it was okay.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It was cool with the other Solark.
For sure.
Solark was kind of popping that day.
Yeah,
but
a little double hitter.
You kind of are serving the people that they get
go
there
to.
at 5,
Yeah.
and then they get hungry at 7, and it's like these people probably came for one drink and
For
stayed
sure.
until 9.
Exactly, dude. That's exactly what it is. Because I was like, well, we would pop up there from 5 to 9, and it's like, okay, we're chilling here for the first couple hours. You know what I mean? And then people are starting to get a little tipsy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I need a pizza. We saw some people going to Bubs, and they're like, oh, there's pizza right here. Like, fuck Bubs, I'm gonna get some pizza, dude. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, so like, that was really cool, but. Yeah, the Grant was a little slower than what we wanted it to be.
And I didn't know the Grant and Bandini
are
like sister bars.
Yeah. So that was dope. Kind of getting that. The guy was like, we were popping up at Bar Bandini, and they're like, oh, we've got the Grant too if you want to pop up there. And we're like, oh,
Is Bandini been better?
Bandini's been better. We haven't been there in a minute. I think we stopped kind of when like I think about a month ago, we kind of stopped doing it to open up a little bit more opportunities for different things. I was kind of getting to a point where I was just working a lot at my day job, my regular job, and right now we're opening up new locations and stuff like that. So I just trained a whole new team at my store. So like there's just a lot going on. So we just kind of pulled back a little bit and kind of just repositioned like where we want to do stuff and kind of spreading our wings a little bit more. I didn't want to just stay in one place. I wanted to kind of get as much people trying the pizza as possible. So, that required us kind of doing different things, traveling out to the West Side a little bit more.
What are these like weird, like crazy garden parties you're doing?
You said garden parties?
Well, I've said that because like that, it's like it just seems like you're like. It seems like you're in somebody's backyard or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
dude?
the homie Jack, he's got this beautiful house in Altadena, just up in the mountains in this beautiful backyard. He was throwing like house shows pretty much. He's a photographer and he shoots a lot of artists. So he just got those same artists to kind of throw a little backyard show. And he was like, yo, like I need you to come sling the pizza. So yeah, we were doing those for a couple while, like throughout the summer. Right now we're just kind of like, bouncing around different kind of wine bars and stuff like that. Just figuring it out, really, honestly.
Do you find any similarities in photography?
As far as like
food?
Yeah, I mean, in the sense of like, if you're a photographer, like if you're a good photographer, you've got a good eye, you know what I mean? So kind of having that good eye as well as like far as like just kind of looking at people eat with their eyes anyways. So, people eat with their phones right now, you know what I mean? So, phone got to eat first. So you got to make sure, if it's visually, appealing, people will definitely eat it no matter how shitty it probably actually is, you know what I mean? Not saying that my pizza's actually shitty or something like that, but yeah, I think there's like just kind of having a nice visual aspect to things. I think there's a little bit of a similarities. It helps kind of being a photographer as far as kind of like, making content and stuff like that. That definitely helps out a lot. Other than that, I feel like I'm in completely different worlds in the sense that like, obviously I'm in food and the other one's kind of like just like more of like a, just shooting photos and stuff like that. But I feel like the people in those worlds are very much the same in the sense of like you got your, people who are just kind of like, who take it very seriously and like are about that shit. And like, then you got your people who are, not necessarily fucking around with like, like, oh, there's a new kid on the block, you know what I mean? Is he coming to steal my shit? You know what I mean? Like take our shine or something like that. So I feel like you get that in any kind of creative space. The haters, or I wouldn't say haters, but like, people who help you do your shit and,
Yeah, well, I guess it's insecurity.
For sure,
that
most definitely.
Most of us all deal with.
Yeah.
But when it's like projected onto somebody like or jealousy too. In any industry.
In any industry.
I felt it a lot in music.
Yeah,
for
sure.
I have felt it in food too.
Facts.
Because it's easy to like tell yourself or have a narrative of like, oh, this guy is coming in and doing this.
Exactly.
Like, oh my God, I've been doing this for so long and this guy's blowing up.
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
oh, woe is me. And then it's just like, why am I listening to this fucking voice in my head?
Yeah, for
like
sure,
this
for sure.
Lower vibration level. Like fucking like this. Who is this guy?
Yeah, exactly.
This guy sucks.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then you're like,
Can't
shut the fuck. Yeah, shut the fuck. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like,
and then you shut the fuck up and you're like, yeah, I am happy for this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can't I just be stoked for this dude? Like,
yeah.
Hey, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
good for you.
And then you're like, I can be.
I can, exactly. It's possible,
It's just easier to give into that negative emotion.
For sure, most definitely.
I think
100%.
I think everyone struggles with that.
Most definitely, 100%.
Even if you're the most positive person.
Exactly. I think I say myself, like I try to stay very positive and, almost to the point where it kind of fucks me over or something like that. But I just give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt, and I trust I trust maybe too much in people's intentions, that they're doing things for the good intention and stuff. But then, my wife quickly reminds me, like, of reality, and also like, we're in Los Angeles. Not a lot of people are here because they want to be here, maybe because they need to be here, something like that. A lot of people are, they have like ulterior motives and stuff like that. They came here for a specific reason. So yeah, it's just, it's different from, interacting with people who have lived here their whole entire lives and people who are here for a purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And their lives depend on it, kind of thing. You
know?
So yeah.
Well, I guess though it's like definitely worth trying to live that way though, where people do have good intentions. I think like using instinct and being like, man, something feels a little off about this situation or this person. Yeah. But I always say like, listen, I'm going to trust you until you give me a reason to not to. Trust you. Yeah, and then the minute you do that, I'm sorry. Like,
walls up.
Yeah. And you've kind of lost it for me.
Yeah.
I hate being lied to.
Dude, it's the worst.
I hate being lied to. I'd rather somebody just give it to me straight to my face. Like, be real with me.
Yes.
If you're drunk and you come in for your shift,
yeah, for sure.
Tell me you're drunk.
Me right now,
you're
bro.
Definitely fired. But
but just
don't fucking don't
try to work the shift.
Yeah,
I can smell it on your breath.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
like,
dude, I've come like being a manager and like going through that space. I mean, like you learn to kind of like trust people, and then you learn like not to trust people, and you just go through so many things, just dealing with people in general, so many different emotions and their lives and stuff like that, and how it affects your business and stuff. So. Yeah, I know all about that.
I guess it's like probably a nice background to have like general managing, or like, are you like a store manager? Or,
yep. Yeah.
Like
I manage that store.
It's I mean, you're kind of like you're in it. You're doing it for somebody else, but essentially all those skills help you do what you're also doing over here.
Exactly. That's why I'm still there, I think. And as the company grows and as I continue to kind of grow with the company, like I know that I can take all this knowledge and experience with me to whatever I want to do in my life. So that's why I'm kind of like, I'm there full time, and then, Pizza Ananda is just on the side as I kind of figure things out. Who knows, in the future what that holds. I'm not like trying to open up a brick and mortar or anything like that. I kind of see pizza in a little bit of a different way, as far as like something that's a little bit more intimate.
Yeah.
I think like my perspective on like those kind of settings will change kind of how things kind of will happen in the future. I don't know, with you, after hearing your podcast and like with you and just like other people, and then like when you're on What's Good Dough and stuff like that, just telling your story about how you opened this place, I think you scared maybe 90% of anybody who's trying to open up a brick and mortar and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I wish I would have listened to that before I fucking opened this place up, dude. I was like, where was that podcast? And I was like, well, I guess
So
I guess here we go.
yeah, exactly. So, well, I mean, that's good. You set the you are the you set the precedent, kind of like
Of
just
not
like
what to do.
and what not
Yeah.
to do. Exactly. So I'm not like my like idea isn't like like, oh, can I turn this into a brick and mortar and stuff like that. I just kind of like popping up. I like engaging with people. I like I feel like I'm very much in the people business.
But the landscape has changed so much. Where like pop-ups used to be few and far between.
Facts.
There used to for pizza. There used to be Elios, and like that was on Sunset. Did you ever heard of the
No,
Elios?
never heard of Elios. Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
he had a wood-fired oven on the back of a truck, and he
Yeah.
would post up, and he sold like $12, $13 incredible pizzas.
Yeah.
And that was the only pizza pop-up I knew. And
Same.
this was like, I think this was well before the pandemic.
Word.
But like, street food has evolved, right?
sure,
But
most
pizza
definitely, yeah.
was never
Like
a
a
part of
street
that.
food, for
That
sure,
was never
for
part of
sure.
that. But these ovens got better and better.
Yeah.
And now, like, pop-ups are regular things. Like,
Yeah.
whether somebody's having a party, there's a get-together at a clothing store,
sure.
somebody's having an art show, or there's a fucking pottery
Yeah.
special, or at a plant store or
Yeah.
some shit. Like,
Yeah,
there's
we just did
always
a furniture
food.
shop. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's so random.
And catering is abundant too, Los
Yeah.
Angeles. But those opportunities were never around when I was
Facts.
coming up in pizza.
Yeah.
So like to be able to kind of test bake
For sure.
your theory first.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know,
see
like
if the concept works.
to be able to really get your feet wet,
Yeah.
get your legs wet,
Yeah.
get your waist
Yeah,
in.
your
You can
waist
almost
slowly but
you can almost
surely.
go neck deep before
Yeah.
getting into a brick and mortar. So
For sure.
especially like doing pop-ups recently, like if you're going to the right place and
Yeah.
you're doing it with a minimum amount of people, you can make you can
For
make
sure.
very good money
Yeah, most definitely.
on top of like working a 9 to 5 to figure out
Exactly, yeah.
what you're doing
wanna
to
do.
support.
100%.
And
dude.
so getting into a brick and mortar right now isn't the most important thing to do.
For sure, yeah.
Building your brand, the opportunity
Exactly.
to build a brand
Mm-hmm.
and then go into a brick and mortar is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
To you think about going to a brick and mortar now.
for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No pop-ups,
No- yeah.
nothing. You're literally just opening up a business and no one fucking knows who you
Yeah,
are.
exactly. exactly.
The people that have gone in and I've seen transition,
Mm-hmm.
they start with such a better foundation. You know what I mean?
No, for
you
sure.
have all the people that have followed you. You have all the people that have already tasted your.
Yes.
And now they get this experience. That's a
Yes.
new experience.
Yeah.
But it feels very homey
Exactly.
and
I was just
friendly
about to say
because
homely,
they've
yeah.
already seen
Now
it.
they can just go to one spot and just like get that same no, for sure, 100%. Now I've seen Quarantine Pizza Co. Getting a spot. Like I'm like but you see it in the making. You know what I mean? The years that they've kind of been building the brand and stuff like that. Now they're gonna get a place to call home. You know what I mean? So that's really dope. I almost see like pizza as like a performance art kind of thing. You know what I mean? I like the nuances and like that's why I kind of mix the dough by hand and stuff like that. I love smelling it. I love touching it. Being able to be like feel it and be like, okay, it's ready, or oh, it needs a little bit more time. Like I love all those little things, and it'd be tight to like have just like a window where you see the oven and like a dude making the pizza or something like that. And like maybe it's just like a bar, maybe there's like you got minimal seating. It's like 12 seater or something like that, and people just come in, they watch you do your thing for a little bit, they eat a pizza, pour them a little bit of wine, they fuck off, and then it just keeps like kind of going. I mean,
Yeah.
How can I get like that experience and like just a fleeting moment, and get like as much in that experience as I can, and then just on to the next experience kind of thing. So it'd be tight to like open up like a little small space, and it's like you only do like a 12-seater or something like that. And then like you're just like people are right there, like you're making
Like a
the pizza.
sushi bar.
Yeah, a sushi bar kind of
Yeah.
vibe. You know what I mean? That would just be super dope, I think.
Yeah.
And then just an intimate. People are just watching you take the dough out, stretching it and stuff like that. You're taking your time. You're not like, oh fuck, I got 20 orders up. Like I got to freaking boom, bust them out. I love just kind of taking my time in the experience and stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be cool to kind of be in an environment where I could actually take my time. At pop-ups, it's a little hard. I mean, you're there for a certain amount of time. People are expecting you to kind of get their pizza out in a certain amount of time. Not everybody is there to drink wine and chill. We get some people who are just like, yo, like,
I want my pizza.
oh, it's going to be a 30-minute wait. Oh, really? 30 minutes. Like, never mind, dude. I'm Gucci. I'm like, oh, well, sorry, bro. Like, there's 10 people ahead of you. I mean, it's just me stretching the pizza out, homeboy over there rocking the ovens. But like, there's only 2 ovens. There's only so much we can really do in this time. So,
yeah, but like that's the perception.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
so
like,
easy.
this just, you're popping up. Like,
yeah.
dude, where's my food?
Yeah.
Like 30 minutes.
Bro. Yeah. 30,
like,
what?
Yeah, I know.
It's a trip, dude. It's a trip.
Be like, yeah, 30 minutes, motherfucker.
I said what I said.
Yeah. You heard me.
You heard me. Yeah. Imagine that, dude.
Come back here, dude. Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro.
These ovens
you
are
want
hot.
to make the pizza,
yeah.
bro?
Yeah.
Shit, it'll take you 30
yeah.
minutes to
Good
make
luck,
it, bro.
dude.
Yeah,
Come stretch this sourdough, fool.
Yeah, exactly, bro. This high hydration right here, bro. You trying to fuck with that? Come on, bro.
What advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out or wants to start popping up?
Dude, reach out to people. I mean, I think reach out to people who've been doing it. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't like reaching out just kind of like shamelessly to people and asking them like, yo, I saw you did this. Like, Zach, like, I mean, Zach has been super dope. Shout out to Boy Blue and Cara. And we were just like, I just hit him up with a message like, yo, like, this looks dope. Like, you mind just talking to me about like, how you did what you did? And like, it just started from there. And now we're just shooting back and forth like, yo, how was that pop up? Like, like we just talk about our experiences and stuff like that. I think definitely just reach out to people who have been doing it. It makes it feel a little bit less like it's just you're trying to figure it all by yourself. And just like, yeah, I mean, you just kind of got to start it. You know what I mean? I think I get in my head a lot, and I can get in my head a lot of just like, how am I supposed to do this? Or, is this going to work out? And until you actually just do it, you're never going to know. And I think that's kind of like with anything in life, really. You could psych yourself out of a lot of shit. I psyched myself out of doing a pizza pop-up for months before I actually like let that guy just be like, yo, like, you should do it. And I just kind of just figured it out. It was a lot of just figuring it out as I went, there was days where it was like when we first started off with the Rock Box where it was just like, oh, okay, actually, I think I do need another oven because I can't just let people just waiting this long, and I need to kind of speed up the process and stuff. So ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for anything, really to kind of help you understand the world that you're stepping into. I think that's super important. Community is super important for sure.
100%.
I think you guys have made it easier now for people to kind of get in because you guys have been through the trenches. You've been through it a lot. What you're supposed to do. Or you have an idea really, and you could give that wisdom to the people who are just starting out really. So yeah, definitely just reach out. I think that's the one thing I have to tell somebody who's just getting into it. I mean, people reaching out to me, asking me like, I'm starting a pizza pop-up. Like, can you tell me how to do it? I'm like, bro, I know nothing. You know what I mean? Like I'm barely kind of starting, like, I'm still figuring out. We just hit our 1 year of making pizza. I mean, yeah, we just hit our 1 year last week. And I'm just like, dang, like to think that a year has passed by. I mean, having a kid, I feel like time just flies by like crazy.
Because you're watching a little thing grow up.
Yeah. So I'm just like, what the hell? So yeah, like, having been in it for a year, I feel like I've only been in it still for just a couple of months. So like, I'm still learning every day, as I'm doing this, every week as I'm doing a pop-up. So yeah, just ask for help, dude, really.
But you've been doing it a year longer than somebody else has been doing it.
That's for sure. Yeah.
So don't have imposter syndrome. I have imposter syndrome.
I have the hugest imposter syndrome. Got that
and I have been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And I still feel like when people ask me for help, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
dang. Straight up. I was like, you've been in this for years, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a consultant, and I'm like, why is this guy asking me for help?
Yeah. I'm like, bro,
what the fuck? I was like, well, yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because
the secret,
the secret in life is that, to me at least, and in business, is that like no one knows what they're doing.
Facts.
Everyone's just doing their best. But
yeah,
I mean, I would think that it's pretty cool that people are hating you up
for
to
sure.
Be like, yo, like,
yeah.
And it's cool because you have a lot of humility, and you can tell that you're very humble.
Yeah.
But to be able to be like, I'm still learning too, but
yeah.
Here's this, or
exactly,
like,
yeah.
Here's what worked for me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do now. I got this dude messaging me all the time from Italy, and it's just like, yo, like, oh my gosh, you're making pizza, like, like how I envision it, like, what did you do? And I was just like, yo, like, here's some resources and stuff like that. Like, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Like, I'm still just figuring it out myself. But but like, yeah, here's some resources, here's some things that help me get started. Like, hopefully that helps you get started as well. Like, let me know if you need anything. I'm here to I'm an open book. I think me talking about my process helps me understand my process more.
Yeah.
And then also like, just kind of helps teach another person the process. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely shouts out to all of you guys for just kind of being open and just like helping the startups kind of get to where they need to get. You know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, I feel like that's what it's all about. And there's like a lot of inspiration that you can get from talking to somebody who's just starting out. There's like a bit more twinkle in their eye.
For sure,
like they're a bit more excited about things. They're like to remember what it's like to be that excited about certain things.
Yeah.
Is
that kind of how you felt when you got into like doing bar pie? I mean, I felt like, was it like where you're just like, dang, I'm seeing all these kind of pop-ups like happening right now. This is kind of like, you already have your shop here. Did you want to just like kind of, did it kind of get you pumped up to kind of start something new and do a little something different?
I think that I want to enjoy every part of the pizza community.
Facts.
And so like, talking to somebody that has a pop-up is going to be a lot easier if I'm like out there on the streets doing it myself.
For sure.
And it's probably a little bit of like I wanted to see if I can build a brand again from the streets.
Yeah.
I never did that.
Facts.
And I was trying
to.
I'm trying not to use this podcast or Hot Tongue to facilitate
that.
That thing. I'm trying to keep them separate because I could use the Instagram or like I wouldn't have been able to go to Smorgasbord if it wasn't for Carolina and Brandon.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
definitely.
It's not completely organic, but I mean, when I'm there in my tent at the Grant and it's just me and people are like, hey, this is really good. Have you ever thought about doing this? Like, what do you want to do with this?
For sure.
And it's like, it's funny because like I have a brick and mortar. I've done this for a long time, but there's something very beautiful about just talking to people about pizza and it being a more pure conversation or interaction.
For sure.
And I'm sitting there making the pies and like, I don't know. It's a different experience.
Most definitely.
The grass is always greener.
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely. No, for sure.
But I feel very lucky that I get to do it.
Nice.
And I do like cooking in those ovens and being out there and for the time being, putting everything up and taking everything down.
Yeah, right.
It's
a process for sure.
Yeah,
it's a process for sure. Definitely. You do that by yourself, all by yourself. The bar by stuff?
Andrew, the general manager here, has helped me. But the last two I did by myself.
Facts.
And you're definitely I got my ass kicked yesterday.
Yeah, for sure.
I was sweating. Like you got there right when we opened.
Yeah.
And then about 35 minutes after that, there was a fucking line for 2 hours.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I can imagine. I knew people were definitely going to come out for sure.
It was
for sure.
Yeah, but I feel like a good old ass kicking is like
you need it, dude.
You know what I went to Zach from Boy Blue and I gave him my final pie and I go, dude, I just sold out. And it's like I did 60 pies and he's like, oh, that's good for a beginner. Dude, and I go, dude, I had your pie, dude. It was bomb. He's like, I know it was. And I was like, damn, dude. Am I talking to the yay of pizza? Just over here lording in the Gozney tent with funny, 6 dude. Gozneys.
Yeah, right. Just like, that's cool. Oh,
how is it over there in the sun?
Yo, that's hilarious. Of course. I mean, Zach being the pizza dude that he is, that's hilarious. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Did you have one of his pies?
I've had a Boy Blue a couple times. I definitely have to go out and support and definitely just try all the pizzas out there. You know what I mean?
Well, there's so fucking many these days.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many.
And it's like, dude, the last thing you're trying to do, people will be like, dude, so like, what's your favorite pizza? And
oh
it's like,
my gosh,
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't fucking know.
I went to Pizza City Fest this year and I ate so much fucking pizza that like I was just sick, literally just sick. But I fucking love it, and just seeing it all come in different ways, and people expressing themselves different ways with the toppings and stuff. Chris Decker at Truly, like, oh my god, that pizza was that was the first time I think I had a pizza where I was like, kind of like actually blown away, and I was just like, holy shit, like this is incredible, you know what I mean? And I'm like, people are out here doing this shit, you know what I mean? I'm like, now I'm just like, I want to try as many different pizzas as I can and as many people's pizzas as I can, you know. So like we're already kind of like getting a little tour going. Like me and my wife are like, okay, like let's go try this place. You know what I mean? We went to Quarter Sheets a couple weeks ago. I love Pizzeria Bianco. Have you been to De La Nona?
I have.
Love De La
Yeah, they
Nona.
have great squares.
Chef Pat over there is just killing it. Like I'm there all the time. I fucking love their pizza. So yeah, I'm just like I just love eating pizza, and I just love trying all the new pizzas out there. And now that we're kind of like in the renaissance of pizza in Los Angeles, it's like people are really putting their shit out there. You know what I mean? When we came to Hot Tongue and had it here, I was just like, there's just so many good pizzas out here. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to say like who's your favorite and like who's doing it the best out there and stuff like that. I feel like everybody's kind of doing their own little thing and own little spin on it, and that's just freaking awesome.
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. Most definitely.
No one's trying to do like one thing out here and do it the best.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, everyone's just trying to do it their way.
Yeah,
the best way.
The best way, exactly.
All right, you ready for the final question?
Oh, dude, hit me.
Who is the greatest recording artist or band of all time to you?
To me personally, I'm gonna go hands down. I mean, for me, it's like obviously you get those people who have like a tie between like, you know, a certain amount of people. For me, I have a tie, but I'm gonna say Radiohead. Radiohead is like my all-time favorite band. Anything Tom York touches is fucking gold. His new band, The Smile, is just absolutely great.
What's your favorite Radiohead album?
Damn. I mean, am I gonna be a loser if I say In Rainbows? You know what I mean?
No, didn't they give that album away for donation?
They did, yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's next level.
That's like a from start to finish fantastic album. I think a lot of my favorite songs are on Hell to the Thief. That's probably like if I were to go to my deep cuts, that's the album I'd go to. But In Rainbows is probably like yeah, this was freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the time. I know that this like mini conversations, like everyone's always going to get something out of it. I'm watching your story, like the stuff that you do, meeting you is inspiring to me. And you can see like the progression and like how it's going, and it seems like it's going really well, dude.
It's going tight, dude. Just riding the wave, dude. Yeah. Riding the wave, man.
It's about the goal is the journey.
The goal is the journey, dude. Straight up, I'll go back to that every single time. The goal is the journey.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much. I wanna go down.